This is Al from Albopepper.com. Today I'm doing a walkthrough update on my garden for the 2015 growing season. It's May 24th, and just want to take a couple minutes and look at what I have going on, how my growth is coming along with my plantings. There, my gooseberry is doing pretty well. I have some runner beans that are in place along this chain link fence that'll create a nice visual barrier, and by going vertical I'll be able to make the best use of my space. I've even extended this a little bit with some trellising material so that I can get even more growth in a small space. These blueberries seem like they're doing pretty well, and in particular this one right here has a lot of blueberries on it. I only planted this last year, so that's pretty cool. Chives are in bloom. Had a major setback here with this one apricot. It looked like maybe bark beetles went into the trunk, and there were a bunch of like little tiny pinholes all up and down the trunk and the branches. Sap was oozing out, and so I just decided to just rip it out, chip it, and get it out of there, and I'll do something a little bit different for next year. But these other fruit trees are actually doing very well. I'd cut them back. I have a video showing how I did that, and if you had seen that and you look at how much growth we're getting, it's pretty cool seeing this all just like sprang up really fast in a little over a month. 2 tomato plants here. They're both types of like cherry tomatoes. And I have this PVC box, this frame constructed, which I'm going to go even higher with it to help to hold them together, and hopefully that'll give me a nice dense planting there. These are my potatoes that I'm growing in this box I designed. I'll have a video showing how I did that coming up. Carrots, 2 spaghetti squashes, and here is some corn, my first of 3 plantings that I'll be having for this year. A few strawberries over there, and let's loop around here. Here is my sea kale, some bloody dock, asparagus. This is my cold frame. I've popped the glass out. I don't have anything growing in it yet, but I have some things in mind, so we'll see how that works out. And here's my garlic, which is just doing really well. And behind that I have my onions and my leeks, which I started from seed. And those were grown in containers, and they're doing great. So I'm really happy to see the way that this whole box has turned out. It's 3 o'clock, and already this grow box, which is sub-irrigated, is in the shade because of the side of the house that I have it on, and the lettuce loves that. I get just the right amount of lighting, enough hours without these having the afternoon dead heat of the sun just beating down on them, and I've gotten some really excellent growth with these. I did a few plants and then waited several weeks and started a few more plants. So these are the next, the second string that's coming along. So we've already been able to start harvesting from this, and we have some nice salads. The stuff tastes great. Once this is to the point that it has bolted or just simply needs to be harvested, I'll be ready to be harvesting these ones. And then if I want, I can start my third planting back here in this spot. So I think that system is going to work great for just the 2 of us. And we won't be overwhelmed, and we won't have a point where there's a whole bunch and then all of a sudden there's none, which just all has to be ripped up at once. Okay, so let's go in the back and see what we have going on back there. We made like a nice little annual flower arrangement. And here is my latest SIP creation. This raised bed that's sub-irrigated. I have this cage that's been put in place to hold these peppers together as they start to grow. In my area, it's customary for people on this weekend, which is Memorial Weekend, to be planting out their peppers and maybe even all their garden things, their tomatoes. I planted these out about 10 days ago, so they've already had time to get acclimated and get established. Here are 2 ground cherries as well, and right here in that area, this is where I have 2 watermelon seeds, two plants that I'm going to be having growing up this trellis here, then just kind of like guided along the ground. These columnar apples, the plants themselves are doing pretty well, the trees, but one thing I'm really excited to see is I actually have fruit that has set apples all up along here, and I've thinned them out even a little bit so that there aren't so many apples in any given spot. Trying to spread them out, select the biggest ones, that way you can get the best yield out of those apples. They can get to the biggest size and best quality. So I'm excited to see how that goes. Right in here is where my kale is, and I'm going to even show you it. So let's take a look. Here it is. These are just in ground, nothing special. I use some of my compost from my Joreform tumbler in here, along with some traditional organic fertilizers as well. And I have 5 plants. We've already harvested this. This stuff was just awesome. So I think in a box this size, last year I had 8, and I realized it was unnecessary. So I scaled it down to 5 plants, and these are filling it. So I'm really happy to see the way these guys are shooting up. And these are all from an experiment that I did in the wintertime, and you may have even seen that video. But I was testing some T5's LEDs, and that's where these plants came from. In this box here, arugulas, mustards, just a little random assortment, little salad booster, and I got my worms in here. Parsley's doing great. I love this salvia. This salvia is just like such a great plant for me in my area, and the bees love it too. This is just going to bloom all year. It's awesome. Still have to pot up these raspberries I ordered. I already had this one from the previous season, and this is all new growth. It had died down, and now all this growth has sprung forth just in this season, and that's where you'll get your fruiting canes on this particular type of raspberry. So look forward to seeing how that works out. I had to completely redo my strawberries. There was some kind of a grub that had been decimating the root systems all winter long. Didn't realize it, and then I started pulling up a couple, and I saw that it was just, they were all desiccated, and so I decided to just start brand new again. So I'm spreading out my strawberry plantings in a few areas. Up on this top row, I have bare root strawberries that I got from Lowe's. And then down here, these are potted ones that I'd gotten as well. And I love the potted ones. They're more money. It's a premium. But they're already in soil. They're already growing pretty well. You've got a nice root system. You can see the difference between buying a bare root set up at a store and going with ones that are potted. So if you've got the money in your budget and you can find the variety that you want, well, I think it's a good way to go. I'm not going to have strawberries in this top row. I have this big trellis that I've set up, and these are also going to have runner beans, which have begun to emerge already. It's exciting. So I'm hoping to just fill this with runner beans. And over here, my herbs, doing pretty well. This pear has just taken off, lots of lush growth this season. Tightened up the trellising material and tied up the new growth along that trellis. So continuing to try to train this, and I'll have to start pruning some this growth for the next season. So I'll be seeing what I need to do for that when the time comes. But it's been a pretty nice season so far, and I look forward to seeing how this all turns out. But I wanted to just keep track of where I am, kind of document this little update, and I will let you know in particular how this SIP grow box, how it works throughout the season. This is my new addition here, and I'm excited to see what I can get out of this. So we're going to find out, and I'm going to share the results. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and hope your garden is coming along really well for you, and that you have a good gardening season.